Bonjour, petite shifter, Amber here, and today is December 29th, and so I'm currently sitting down filming all of my end of year videos, wrap-ups, thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. Anyway, so I just filmed my part of my 2020 TBR. I filmed the 20 already released books that I want to read in 2020, which is a list of, as the title suggests, books that have already come out, books that aren't new releases that I want to read in the new year. So now, I'm not sure actually which video is going to go up first, but now I am sitting down to film my 20 most anticipated new releases in 2020. I'm probably not going to call it that, so whatever the title is, I'm going to film that. I'm going to sit down and tell you 20 books coming out in 2020 that I am really excited for. Whew. So the first, I'm just going to mention these quickly because I don't know when we're going to get these books, if they're going to come out in 2020, but if so, it's implied that CBB3, the third Orisha book by Tony Adeyemi, the fourth Witchlands book by Susan Dennard, and the sequel to Kingdom of Souls, those are all implied on this list. I'm not entirely sure when they're coming out, so if they come out in 2020, bump them up the list. Anyway, so the first actual book on this list goes with my shirt. Actually, I did not plan this. I don't know if you can see it. And it is We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faizal, which is the sequel to We Hunt the Flame, which was my favorite book this year. I still haven't shut up about it. I'm actually about to draw a winner for my We Hunt the Flame giveaway that I'm posting over on the Bookstagram. I made a whole quad of candles for these books. But anyway, I have my trusty laptop here, so I have Goodreads pulled up so I can give you brief synopses of each book. I'm not going to give you a synopsis of We Free the Stars because it's a sequel, so I'm not trying to spoil anything, but We Hunt the Flame follows our two main characters, Zafira and Nasir. People lived because she killed, people died because he lived. That right there is what got me to read this book. Zafira is the hunter, disguising herself as a man when she braves the cursed forest of the Ars to feed her people. Nasir is the Prince of Death, assassinating those foolish enough to defy his autocratic father, the king. If Zafira was exposed as a girl, all of her achievements would be rejected. If Nasir displayed his compassion, his father would punish him in the most brutal of ways. Both are legends in the kingdom of Arawiya, but neither wants to be. Basically, their country is on the brink of war. Zafira embarks on a quest to find this lost artifact and restore magic to the world. On the other hand, Nasir is sent to Shar, where Zafira is, that's on the shirt, to kill her and claim the artifact for his father. So they are on this whole adventure with a whole other gang of characters who I absolutely adore, and We Free the Stars picks up after said adventure, and I'm really excited and nervous and stressed out to see where the story goes from there. I loved, obviously, We Hunt the Flame so much, and the way it ended, Hafsa, please. So this is a duology, so We Free the Stars will be concluding the books, which also hurts, but I can't wait. And this comes out in July, I believe. July 7th is when it comes out. So next on this list is another one that I'm I mean, obviously they're all ones that I'm super excited about, but this one's kind of a more personal one, and that is Redemption Prep by Samuel Miller. So if you are new here and don't know, I've known Sam since 2013. We go way back. I love his band Paradise Fears and have been like supporting them for a really long time. Look forward to seeing him every single year. His first book came out in 18, A Light Too Bright, which I loved so much, and I'm not just being biased. I already told him if I didn't like it, I would have let him know. Now he's back with another book, and I'm so excited and proud. And this book is promised to be a lot darker, and that's right up my alley. There's a lot of like murder and death in it. This one takes place in at a boarding school. Twin Peaks meets Riverdale in this twisty atmospheric mystery from the critically acclaimed author of A Light Too Bright, Samuel Miller, about the search for a missing girl at an elite prep school. Everyone knows Emma. Nisha's her best friend, Aiden's her basketball star boyfriend, and Evan's her shadow, following Emma's every move. She stands out, which is hard to do at Redemption Prep, a school where every student has been handpicked to attend its remote campus in the forest of Utah. So when she goes missing in plain sight, everyone notices, and everyone becomes a suspect, especially at a school with strict rules. Don't skip mass, don't break curfew, don't go into the woods. Emma's disappearance ignites an investigation, and Nisha, Aiden, and Evan all want to find her for different reasons, but they each have their own secrets to hide. Not everyone wants Emma to be found. As the search continues, the students realize that they're not the only ones hiding something. Redemption Prep has secrets too. Secrets bigger than any of the students could have imagined, and Emma could be the key to finding out the truth if anyone can find her. This book comes out April 14th. I'm probably not going to shut up about it. I'm not sorry about it. One, I loved his first book. Even if he wasn't my friend, I'd be like shouting about this book, but he is my friend, so I'm never going to shut up about this book. Pre-order it right now. Love Sam to death. Super proud. I don't know how many times I can say that. Let's move on. So the next book on this list comes out February 4th. February 4th, and this one is a debut novel. It is All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace, and this sounds super cool. I'm actually on the street team for this book, and I have the e-arc of this book, but I haven't gotten around to read it yet, so maybe I should bump that up to maybe do that in January, right before the book comes out. We'll see. Set in a kingdom where danger lurks beneath the sea, mermaids seek vengeance with song, and magic is a choice. Adeline Grace's All the Stars and Teeth is a thrilling fantasy for fans of Stephanie Garber's Caraval and Sarah J. Maas's Throne of Glass series. She will reign as princess of the island kingdom Visidia. Amora Montera has spent her entire life training to be High Animancer, the master of souls. The rest of the realm can choose their magic, but for Amora, it's never been a choice. To secure her place as heir to the throne, she must prove her mastery of the monarchy's dangerous soul magic. When her demonstration goes awry, Amora is forced to flee. She strikes a deal with Bastian, a mysterious pirate, who will help her prove she's fit to rule if she'll help him reclaim his stolen magic. But sailing the kingdom holds more wonder and more peril than Amora anticipated. A destructive new magic is on the rise, and if Amora is to conquer it, she'll need to face legendary monsters, cross paths with vengeful mermaids, and deal with a stowaway she never expected, or risk the face of Visidia and lose the crown forever. It says, I am the right choice, the only choice, and I will protect my kingdom. We have pirates, a magical princess, mermaids. I'm ready. The next book, I never thought we'd get to this day, honestly. And the next book is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which is the Hunger Games prequel. I still hate the cover of this book. I'm going to be very honest, and I don't know what I think about the title yet, but regardless of those two facts, I'm getting a new Hunger Games book, and I don't have much to complain about. I can ignore the ugly cover if the content is good. This book comes out May 19th, and it takes place 64 years before the first Hunger Games book, and it starts the reaping of the 10th Hunger Games. Y'all know how I feel about the Hunger Games. I mean, if you don't, if you're new, this just happened. You can't see it. I really got this at the wrong angle. The Hunger Games is one of, if not my favorite book series of all time. I have read it now 10 times and I love it more every time I read it, it seems. I've seen the movies countless times, but I'm excited. I will admit that when I heard we were getting a Hunger Games prequel, I was desperately hoping for either Haymitch or Phoenix Games, but honestly I'm gonna still hold out hope that we get them eventually, because I didn't think that we get a Hunger Games book, period. So I'm also desperately hoping that this means a book tour, a Suzanne Collins book tour, and catch me rolling in like Matilda with that wagon of books with all of my copies. Next on this list is a book by, did I say that that comes out May 19th? The next book on this list isn't by an author that I have really grown to love this year. I read both of her previous books in 2019 and I am so stoked to pick up this new one on May 14th, and it is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, who is the author of The Poet X and With the Fire on High. Like I said, I read both this year and I loved both so much. This book, it says Camino Rios lives for the summers when her father visits her in the Dominican Republic, but this time of the day when his planes goes to land, Camino arrives at the airport to see crowds of crying people. In New York City, Yahaira Rios is called to the principal's office where her mother is waiting to tell her that her father, her hero, has died in a plane crash. Separated by distance and Poppy's secrets, the two girls are forced to face a new reality in which their father is dead and their lives are forever altered. And then, when it seems like they've lost everything of their father, they learn of each other. Poppy's death uncovers all of the painful truths he kept hidden and the love he divided across an ocean. And now Camino and Yahaira are both left to grapple with what this new sister means to them and what it will now take to keep their dreams alive. In a dual narrative novel in verse that brims with both grief and love, award-winning and best-selling author Elizabeth Acevedo writes about the devastation of loss, the difficulty of forgiveness, and the bittersweet bonds that shape our lives. I mean, I didn't really need to read what it was about. When I saw the cover and heard the title, I was like, I'm gonna get it. I don't really care what it's about. Honestly, she has definitely become a auto-buy author for me. Also, as someone who has a half-sister that they met later on in life, it'll be interesting to read about a situation that I kind of relate to, and maybe I'll get her this book, we'll see. So next is another first in a new series. This is Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee, which comes out on June 23rd, 2020. And this cover, I'm reading the synopses straight from Goodreads because one, I've only been up for like an hour, and I'm also not really good at summarizing books when I've read them, let alone I don't know when I have only a vague idea of what they're about. So I'd rather just give you what has been given to me. Danger lurks within the roots of Forest of Souls, an epic, unrelenting tale of destiny and sisterhood, perfect for fans of Naomi Novik and Susan Dennard, who you know I love. Saoirse Ashwin comes from nothing, but she's intent on becoming something. After years of training to become the Queen's next royal spy, her plans are derailed when shamans attack and kill her best friend, Sango. And then Saoirse somehow restores Sango to life. Unveiled as the first soul guide in living memory, Saoirse is summoned to the domain of the Spider King. For centuries, he has used his influence over the deadwood, an ancient forest possessed by souls, to enforce peace between the kingdoms. Now with the trees growing wild and untamed, only a soul guide can restrain them. As war looms, Saoirse must master her newly awakened abilities before the trees shatter the brittle peace, or worse, claim Sango, the friend she would die for. And did I say this comes out June 23rd? I don't have anything else to say. The cover is beautiful. The plot sounds top-notch and perfect for fans of Susan Dennard, who I absolutely adore. Next, we have another gorgeous cover, and this one is Stardust Order by Shweta Thakrar. This comes out August 11th, and it says, the daughter of a star and immortal. First of all, I'm in. Sheetal is used to keeping secrets, but when a flare of starfire injures her human father, Sheetal needs his full star's help to heal him, a star like her mother who returned to the sky long ago. She tells Quest will take her to a celestial court of shining wonders and dark shadows, where she must act as her family's champion in a competition to decide the next ruling house of the heavens, or risk never returning to Earth at all. Neil Gaiman's Stardust meets a rich landscape of Hindu mythology and celestial intrigue in this sparkling YA fantasy debut. There are so many things here that I am in love with. I mean, we have a daughter of a star and immortal, yes, and then we have sort of like celestial Hunger Games, yes, Hindu mythology, this gorgeous cover, yes, and it comes out not sort of close to my birthday, so if you want to get me a gift, I'm just like staying on track of gorgeous covers. Most of these are gonna have pretty covers because I never listened growing up when they said don't judge a book by a cover. I do, and that's gotten me in trouble sometimes, but I'm still holding out hope that it won't this time. And this book in particular, this is so pretty. It's The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. This book comes out May 26th. Start of a bold and immersive West African inspired feminist fantasy series for fans of Children in Blood and Bone and Black Panther. In this world, girls are outcast by blood and warriors by choice. I mean, what? Yes. 16-year-old Decca lives in fear and anticipation of the blood ceremony that will determine whether she will become a member of her village, which right there reminds me of Kingdom of Souls also. So another one of my favorite books of the whole year. Already different from everyone else because of her unnatural intuition, Decca prays for red blood so she can finally feel like she belongs. But on the day of the ceremony, her blood runs gold, the color of impurity. And Decca knows she will face a consequence worse than death. Then a mysterious woman comes to her with a choice: stay in the village and submit to her fate, or leave to fight for the emperor and an army of girls just like her. They are called Alaki, near immortals with rare gifts, and they are the only ones who can stop the empire's greatest threat. Knowing the dangers that lie ahead, yet yearning for acceptance, Decca decides to leave the only life she's ever known, but as she journeys to the capital to train for the biggest battle of her life, she will discover that the great walled city holds many surprises. Nothing and no one are quite what they seem to be, not even Decca herself. Yes. So it really also feels, like I said already, like Kingdom of Souls to me. And as much as I love CBB, I can't wait for the day where that's not the only African inspired book that is used as the selling point for other African inspired fantasy YA fantasies. Like, I get it, it's kind of like the paving stone, I guess, I suppose, but there are more books, guys. Anyway, I'm excited to read this book. I think it's going to definitely tackle the whole weird concept of purity surrounding women. Let's move on. Okay, this one's kind of relatively new on my radar, but as soon as I read the premise, I'm like, oh, this is going on my list. And that is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This book comes out July 21st, and it says a young woman living in a rigid puritanical society discovers dark powers within herself in this stunning feminist fantasy debut. This is the running theme, apparently. In the lands of Bethel, where the prophet's word is law, Emmanuel Moore's very existence is blasphemy. Her mother's union with an outsider of a different race cast her once proud family into disgrace. So Emmanuel does her best to worship the Father, follow holy protocol, and lead a life of submission, devotion, and absolute conformity, like all of the women in the settlement. But a mishap lures her into the forest, into the forbidden dark woods surrounding Bethel, where the first prophet once chased and killed 4 powerful witches. Their spirits are still lurking there, and they bestow a gift on Emmanuel, the journal of her dead mother, who Emmanuel was shocked to learn once sought sanctuary in the wood. Fascinated by the secrets in the diary, Emmanuel finds herself struggling to understand how her mother could have consorted with the witches. But when she begins to learn grim truths about the church and its history, she realizes the true threat to Bethel is its own darkness. And she starts to understand that if Bethel is to change, it must begin with her. There are a lot of elements here that are very, very realistic. I have a feeling this could be one of my top favorites of the year. I hope she wreaks some havoc, you know. Another very pretty cover. And another one that is promising me tons of black girl magic. And this one is A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. Tavia is already at odds with the world, forced to keep her siren identity under wraps in a society that wants to keep her kind under lock and key. Never mind, she's also stuck in Portland, Oregon, a city with only a handful of black folk and even fewer of those with magical powers. At least she has her bestie Effie by her side as they tackle high school drama, family secrets, and unrequited crushes. But everything changes in the aftermath of a siren murder trial that rocks the nation. The girl's favorite internet fashion icon reveals she's also a siren, and the news rips through their community. Tensions escalate when Effie starts being haunted by demons from her past, and Tavia accidentally lets out her magical voice during a police stop. No secret seems safe anymore. Soon Portland won't be either. This kind of reminds me of Siren on Freeform. I don't even know if that show still comes on. This kind of gives me those type of vibes where we have, like, you know, the sirens in our world and them just like trying to navigate our world. But I know there's going to be other important topics tackled, and I think I already mentioned it, that it comes out on June 2nd. Next, this one doesn't have a cover yet. This one doesn't even really have a synopsis yet, but it's on my list, and it's Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson, which is supposed to come out in May. When, I'm not sure. This says May 2020. She just posted about the book, and all I know is the tagline is like, he should have known better or something like that. I'm like, oh, so we're back with the books that are gonna mess me up, huh? That's great. That's cool. I still have 2 of her books to read. Monday's Not Coming and Let Me Hear Rhyme. I'm just gonna be reading all of her books in 2020, apparently. I pulled up her Instagram and it just says, oh, it's coming in September. Okay, so what did this say? It says May, but she says September. Oh my god, Amber. Coming September 2020, because hashtag he knew better. And it says, can't wait to see how mad y'all gonna be at me about this case. I look forward to letting you all know how stressed out I am. Next is a sequel, another sequel. This one doesn't have a cover yet, but it's fine. I know it's gonna be beautiful because the first one was beautiful. And it is Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin, which is the sequel to Serpent and Dove, which was one of my favorite books this year. It says that it's supposed to come out on September 1st. Happy birthday to me. It comes out 4 days before my birthday. Bless up. All it says, all I know, it says A Tale of Serpents, Doves, and Lost Loves. Shelby. I know she's still working on it right now, but I have a lot of high hopes. I'm hoping for a lot more Coco, a lot more Ansel. Honestly, I know a lot of people complain about how the relationship, the romance was too much of the plot of the book. I didn't mind that in the first book, but I am going into it hoping for more outside world and like people outside of just Lou Reed. But I am here, I'm ready for my little witchy babies. That's all I know. I don't really know anything else about this book, except for like the little snippets that Shelby has been like including in her Q&As on Instagram. Okay, we have another sequel to another fave of the year, obviously. And this one is A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kimmerer, which is the sequel to Curse So Dark and Lonely. I probably should have put these books in order of publication. I'm sorry. I just wrote a list. This one comes out January 7th. so this is really close. I have the arc. I won an arc because I'm on the street team for this book. I won the arc. I haven't read it yet. I don't know why. But I am going to I was about to say Philly, but it's not in Philly, the signing for this book. She's going to be in Delaware a couple days after the book comes out. So I'm going to head down to Delaware to see her, obviously. I don't know why it took me that long to get through that. So if you don't know, A Curse So Dark and Lonely is a Beauty and the Beast retelling that follows Harper and Wren fall in love, break the curse, cursed by a powerful enchantress. To repeat the autumn of his 18th year, Prince Wren, the heir of Emberfall, thought he could be saved easily if a girl fell for him, but that was before he turned into a vicious beast, hell-bent on destruction, before he destroyed his castle, his family, and every last shred of hope. Nothing has ever been easy for Harper, with her father long gone, her mother dying, and her brother constantly underestimating her because of her cerebral palsy. Harper learned to be tough enough to survive. When she tries to save a stranger on the streets of Washington, D.C., she's pulled into a magical world. Break the curse, save the kingdom. Harper doesn't know where she is or what to believe. A prince, a curse, a monster? As she spends time with Wren in this enchanted land, she begins to understand what's at stake. And as Wren realizes Harper is not just another girl to charm, his hope comes flooding back. But powerful forces are standing against Emberfall, and it will take more than a broken curse to save Harper, Wren, and his people from utter ruin. Obviously it's Beauty and the Beast, you know the story of Beauty and the Beast, but I loved the book so much. It definitely wasn't your standard Beauty and the Beast story. I just really loved it. I love the story, I love the characters, and I can't wait to see what the story goes from here. Can't wait to see more of Gray and his story. So like I said, this comes out January 7th, so it's relatively soon. So I'll be letting you know soon what I think of the sequel. Sticking to sequels, we have a sequel to Another Faith of 2019. Comes out May 26, 2020, and it's The Archer at Dawn by Swati Teardala, which is the sequel to The Tiger at Midnight, which is such an underrated book. By the way, I pulled up the sequel, and I should have just pulled up the first book so I can tell you what the first book is about. The first book, The Tiger at Midnight, it says, a broken bond, a dying land, a cat and mouse game that can only end in bloodshed. Esha is a legend, but no one knows. It's only in the shadows that she moonlights as the Viper, the rebel's highly skilled assassin. She's devoted her life to avenging what she lost in the royal coup, and now she's been tasked with her most important mission to date, taking down the ruthless General Hatha. Kunal has been a soldier since childhood, training morning and night to uphold the power of King Vardon. His uncle, the general, has ensured that Kunal never strays from the path, even as a part of Kunal longs to join the outside world, which has been growing only more volatile. Then Esha and Kunal's paths cross, and an unimaginable chain of events unfolds. Both the Viper and the soldier think they're calling the shots, but they're not the only players moving the pieces. As the bonds that hold their land in order break down and the sins of the past meet the promise of a new future, both rebel and soldier must make unforgivable choices. Drawing inspiration from ancient Indian history and Hindu mythology, the first book in Swati Teardala's debut fantasy trilogy captivates with electric romance, stunning action, and the fierce bonds that hold people together and drive them apart. The sequel follows up on this little cat and mouse adventure that we've been on in the first book. The stakes are heightened. I can't tell you more than that, honestly. But yes, I think this is such an underrated book. I haven't really seen anybody talking about it, so read it. Okay, the next one, oh, did I say Archer Dawn comes out May 26th? I don't know if I said that. The next book is one that is just coming onto my radar, and I only found out about it because I was watching Miley's, her list of anticipated reads, and she mentioned this book, and I don't know how I didn't know it existed. So this book is The Court of Miracles by Kester Grant, and y'all, a diverse fantasy reimagining of Les Miserables and The Jungle Book. Yes. In the dark days following a failed French Revolution, in the violent jungle of an alternate 1828 Paris, young cat burglar Eponine, or Nina Thénardier, goes head-to-head with merciless royalty and the lords of the city's criminal underworld to save the life of her adopted sister Cosette, or Eddie. Her vow will take her from the city's dark underbelly through a dawning revolution to the very heart of the glittering court of Louis the 17th. I love Roman numerals. Me, can't read Roman numerals. Also me, has Roman numerals tattooed on me. I love that for me. She must make an impossible choice between guilt, blood, betrayal, and war. For fans of the gritty criminal underworlds of Six of Crows, The Lies of La Glamora, fierce alternate histories like The Gilded Wolves and I Darken, and anyone knows that Eponine deserved so much more. I was about to say I haven't read any of those books, but Eponine has always been my favorite from Les Mis. She deserved better. I can't wait to read this book. I can't wait to see how the stories of Les Mis and The Jungle Book intertwine. This book comes out June 2nd. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'm excited. Okay, we have another sequel to a book I read quite early in the year, and it is Court of Lions by Samaya Dowd, which is the sequel to Mirage. This is another book that not nearly enough people have read, it seems. This book comes out May 5th. The first book is sort of like a princess and the pauper type situation. It's like a fantasy sci-fi hybrid. It says, in a star system dominated by the brutal Vathek Empire, 18-year-old Amani is a dreamer. This is the first book, by the way. She dreams of what life was like before the occupation. She dreams of writing poetry like the old world poems she adores. She dreams of receiving a sign from Daya that one day she too will have adventure and travel beyond her isolated moon. But when adventure comes for Amani, it's not what she expects. She is kidnapped by the regime and taken in secret to the royal palace, where she discovers that she is nearly identical to the cruel half-Vathek Princess Maram. Princess is so hated by her conquered people that she requires a body double, someone to appear in public as Maram, ready to die in her place. As Amani is forced into her new role, she can't help but enjoy the palace's beauty and her time with the princess's fiancé, Idris. But the glitter of the royal court belies a world of violence and fear. If Amani ever wishes to see her family again, she must play the princess to perfection, because one wrong move could lead to her death. At the end of book one, we were like, the war was really a brewing. So stakes are higher, things are more dangerous. Let's see what happens. So next is the first book in a new series by an author I've recently finally read the first book in her previous series. And this is Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova, who is the author of the Brujas of Brooklyn series. I read Labyrinth Lost a few months ago and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, this is an all new series. This is the Hollow Crown series. This book comes out April 28th. It says, I am Renata Convita. I have lived 100 stolen lives, now I live my own. Renata Convita was only a child when she was kidnapped by the King's Justice. I have a lot of books on this list about being kidnapped and brought to the luxurious palace of Andalusia. As a Robari, the rarest and most feared of the magical Maria, Renata's ability to steal memories from royal enemies enabled the king's wrath, a siege that resulted in the deaths of thousands of her own people. Now Renata is one of the Whisperers, rebel spies working against the crown and helping the remaining Maria escape the kingdom bent on their destruction. The Whispers may have rescued Renata from the palace years ago, but she cannot escape their mistrust and hatred. For the overpowering memories of the hundreds of souls she turned hollow during her time in the palace. When Des, the commander of her unit, is taken captive by the notorious Sangrado Prince, Renata will do anything to save the boy whose love makes her place among the Whispers bearable. The disastrous rescue attempt means Renata must return to the palace undercover and complete Des's top secret mission. Can Renata convince her former captors that she remains loyal, even as she burns for vengeance against the brutal, enigmatic prince? Her life and the fate of the Maria depend on it. But returning to the palace stirs childhood memories long locked away as Renata grows more deeply embedded in the politics of the royal court. She uncovers a secret in her past that would change the entire fate of the kingdom and end the war that has cost her everything. Most of the books I read seem to be about people being kidnapped and war. Am I okay? So like I said, that comes out April 28th. I really enjoyed Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida. I am looking forward to picking up Ruhaborn. I think the third book in that series also comes out in 2020. So hopefully I'll get around to that too. Okay, moving on. This next book, as someone who has quite a few tattoos, is exciting to me. It is Ink in the Blood by Kim Smejkal. This book comes out February 11th. It says, a lush dark fantasy debut that weaves together tattoo magic, faith, and eccentric theater. Did I write this book? A world where lies are current. Wow. In a world where lies are currency. What? That lisp. Where lies are currency and ink is a weapon. Perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo and Kendar Lake. Oh, I usually say I haven't read Leigh Bardugo. Who? I have read both of those authors. Celia Sand and her best friend Anya Bertoni are inklings for the esteemed religion of Profeta. Using magic, they tattoo followers with beautiful images that represent the divine's will and guide the actions of the recipients. It's considered a noble calling, but 10 years into their servitude, Celia and Anya know the truth. Profeta is built on lies. The tattooed orders strip away freedom, and the revered temple is actually a brutal, torturous prison. Their opportunity to escape arrives with the Rabble Mob, a traveling theater troupe. I love this. Using their inkling abilities for performance instead of propaganda, Celia and Anya are content for the first time until they realize who followed them. The divine they never believed in is very real, very angry, and determined to use Celia, Anya, and the Rabble Mob's now infamous stage to spread her deceitful influence even further. To protect their new family from the wrath of a malicious deity. I don't know why I have an accent today. And the zealots who work in her name, Celia and Anya must unmask the biggest lie of all, Profeta itself. Tattoo magic. A traveling theater troupe. It me. Hello, it me. Also, as just said, most of the books I read or seem to be wanting to read this year are about being kidnapped, war, and also taking down corrupt religion or unraveling corrupt religion. It seems to be a running theme. Am I okay? This sounds so exciting. I'm so excited for this. I want all the fan art. I want merch. I don't know. I love theater. I love tattoos. I love magic. I'm ready. Let's move on. I only have 2.5 more books. The next one, speaking of magic, we have A Song of Wraiths and Ruins by Roseanne A. Brown, which comes out June 2nd. So we have another West African inspired fantasy book. I think this one is also told in dual points of view. The first in an immersive fantasy duology inspired by West African folklore, in which a grieving crown princess and a desperate refugee find themselves on a collision course to murder each other despite their growing attraction. From debut author Roseanne A. Brown, perfect for fans of Tomi Adeyemi, Renee Attia, and Saba Tahir. I'm just going to put 2 of my favorites in one sentence like that. I haven't read any Saba Tahir yet. I have an Ember in the Ashes. I have received it for my birthday. So Renee and Tomi, I'm ready. I mean, I kind of got that vibe just from a collision course to murder each other despite their growing attraction. That screams Zaylee and Shazi. Anyway, for Malik, the Solstasia Festival is a chance to escape his war-stricken home and start a new life with his sisters in the prosperous desert city of Zirin. But when a vengeful spirit abducts Malik's younger sister Nadia as payment into the city, Malik strikes a fatal deal. Kill Karina, crown princess of Zirin, for Nadia's freedom. But Karina has deadly aspirations of her own. Her mother, the Sultana, has been assassinated. Her court threatens immunity, and Sostasia looms like a knife over her neck. Grief-stricken, Karina decides to resurrect her mother through ancient magic, requiring the beating heart of a king, and she knows just how to obtain one. By offering her hand in marriage to the victor of the Sostasia competition, says. When Blake rakes his way into the contest, they are set on a heart-pounding course to destroy each other, but as attraction flares between them, an ancient evil stirs. Will they be able to see the task to the death? And honestly, I definitely see Tommy and Renee, because this is definitely giving me CBB. It's definitely giving me The Wrath and the Dawn. I don't know about an Ember and Ashes, but it's also giving me a little bit of Hunger Games, and I'm ready for it. I am completely, utterly ready for this book. I can't wait to obsess over another book. I can't wait for more Black Girl Magic. I love this. I love the time. What a time to be alive. This book comes out, like I said, June 2nd. Okay, we are almost finished, kids. This next book is a retelling of sorts, and we know how I feel about a retelling. This book is Dark and Deepest Red by Anna Marie McLemore. I have not read one of their books yet, and I don't know why. I have Wild Beauty. I need to read it this year. I have been wanting to pick up an Anna Marie McLemore book for so long, and this one's coming out, so I definitely need to have it. This one's like a retelling of The Red Shoes by Hans Christian Andersen, and I also read that it's also inspired by the actual historical events, a dancing plague in 1518. I don't know why I said plague like that. Anyway, summer 1518, a strange sickness swoops through Strasbourg. Women dance in the streets, some until they fall down dead. As rumors of witchcraft spread, suspicion turns towards Lavinia and her family, and Lavinia may have to do the unimaginable to save herself and everyone she loves. 5 centuries later, a pair of red shoes seal to Rosella Olivia's feet, making her dance uncontrollably. They draw her toward a boy who knows the dancing fever's histories better than anyone, Emile, whose family was blamed for the fever 500 years ago. But there's more to what happened in 1518 than even Emile knows, and discovering the truth may decide whether Rosella survives the Red Shoes. With McLemore's signature lush prose, Dark and Deepest Red pairs a forbidding magic of a fairy tale with a modern story of passion and betrayal. That's my favorite kind. So this, like I said, comes out January 14th. I'm gonna be in a bookstore twice around that time, so I'll be sure to pick it up. Also, the cover is really pretty. Okay, and the last one is kind of like an honorable mention because I have already read the arc of this book, but I kind of just wanted to mention it because, one, I am shocked that I am mentioning an adult romance novel. That's just kind of been like a thing that I've slowly gotten into this year. Also because I really enjoyed it. I was trying to, what was I said for one, what's two? I really enjoyed it, and it is Lover or Loser by Tessa Bailey, which is the second in the Hot and Hammered, I guess, little series. The first book was Fix Her Up, which followed Georgie and Travis, which I also read and loved this year. This one follows Rosie and Dominic, who are kind of side characters in the first book, and this is their story. They are married. New York Times bestselling author Tessa Bailey returned with a unique, sexy, romantic comedy about a young married couple whose rocky relationship needs a serious renovation. Rosie and Dominic Vega are the perfect couple, high school sweethearts, best friends, madly in love. Well, they used to be anyway. Now Rosie's lucky to get a caveman grunt from the ex-soldier every time she walks in the door. Dom is faithful and a great provider, but the man she fell in love with 10 years ago is nowhere to be found. When her girlfriends encourage Rosie to demand more out of life and pursue her dream of opening a restaurant, she decides to demand more out of love too. 3 words: marriage boot camp. Never in a million years did Rosie believe her stoic, too manly to emote husband would actually agree to relationship rehab with a weed-smoking hippie. Dom talking about feelings, sitting on pillows, communicating with nature, learning love languages? Nope. But to her surprise, he's all in, and it forces her to admit her own role in their cracked foundation. As they complete one ridiculous yet surprisingly helpful assignment after another, their remodeled relationship gets stronger than ever, except just as they're getting back on track, Rosie discovers Dom has a secret and it could demolish everything. So like I said, I read this one this month actually, and I liked it. I read a few reviews that didn't really enjoy it, especially as much as Fix Her Up, but I think in some aspects I liked it a lot more than Fix Her Up, but I'll talk about that later in my December wrap up. But I just wanted to mention it because it is a release that's coming out in on January 14th. I will most likely get the physical copy because the cover is cute, and I have the physical copy of Fix Her Up, and I'll probably reread it. I did it. I did it. So those are 2020 releases that I'm excited to read in 2020. Let me know down below what 2020 releases you're excited to read, if any of the ones on my list are also on your list. Thank you for watching. If you got through all of this, my lord. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. All my places are down below so you can follow me, and I'll play back, and I'll see you very soon.